Hi, I'm Catherine Diorio. This week on Check Please, Managing Director Greg Veza says you need to gather your friends and family and join him for a memorable modern Mediterranean meal at his favorite spot. But business owner Gail Videka is always sold on her selection because of its sensational seafood and sharing, caring atmosphere. Up first, writer-editor Emily Yount says that even though her pick is tough to describe, she could wax poetic for hours about her recommendation. She says for a noteworthy night out, head to Ravenswood and join her at Band of Bohemia.
This is different. Something about the place is different. When you walk into the restaurant, the first thing you walk into is our parlor. And I think right away you know I've stepped into a brew house or a brew pub that is much different than anything else.
It's a lot of fun, you know, it's very engaging. It's a place that you can have really good service, really good food, really good beer as well, but you can also have a great glass of wine, a great cocktail, a great cup of coffee. So it's really meant to sort of be a little bit of everything and do all of them really well.
We originally considered it as a global cuisine because we do reach from all parts of the earth. Because it is reverse engineered and the way a dish is designed to go with the beer, it can be anything.
It's hard to explain it. I mean, it's just really good food, it's good beverages and so on, good service. But to really define it, it's one of those places you kind of have to see it.
So Emily, you say Band of Bohemia is bountiful. Tell us why you chose it.
Band of Bohemia, I feel, has something for everybody. So if you're a tea drinker, if you're big on cocktails, if you appreciate wine being paired with your meal, it's a place that I think is good for all of those things. In particular, I love that I can sit at the bar by myself and have a flight of beers with a snack and also bring a group of friends for brunch, go to dinner with a date. And each of those different programs, from cocktails to food, are paired beautifully, and I always feel welcome the minute I walk in the door.
Well, I'm going to be really honest. I went and I looked at the menu when you selected it, and I was like, oh my gosh. And we went up there.
Oh my gosh, good, or oh my gosh, bad?
Oh my gosh, I don't know what half of this is. That kind of oh my gosh. But we went, and the food was fabulous. The service was great. We just had the best time ever. Our wait staff person, she really guided us through the whole menu, because when I saw root vegetable stew, I was like, okay. And she really kind of picked our dinner for us, and it was fabulous.
I found it very interesting. It had a really weird duality to it, right? Because when you first came in there, you have that brick building, you have the backdrop of the metro station. You kind of peek into the window, and it's a little inviting. What's going on in there? Like, there's a little secret. And you go in, and I felt like I was, for a second, just you're going into some weird David Lynch dream sequence, you know, with the elephant pattern curtains, and there's a gargoyle and the red lamps, but I dug it.
David Lynch is not where I go with walking in there. It's kind of my Narnia. I love walking in and seeing kind of this seating arrangement. It feels like someone's living room. It's very atmospheric and a little odd, so maybe David Lynch too.
Now, I had the beers, had the flight, didn't blow away just because it's limited. It's all ales. I would like some darker ones. And I don't want to get hyperbolic, but I had one gin drink there. I forgot some type of hooch, what they called it. A salted rim, and it has like a tamarind and lemon in it. And when that hits the salt, it's almost full body. You kind of feel it, and it blows your mind. I also liked, you know, that lounge area because I got there an hour before our reservation. You can play some board games, which I enjoyed doing.
I recommend mixing the two together. It takes a little bit.
The food, great wait staff walking us through, but I felt like it was uneven. There were just a lot of parts of certain dishes that I liked, but there was always one element that didn't do it for me. Yeah. But the presentation was fantastic. I really just expected the food to rival what I was having on the drink side.
We thought the food was wonderful,
Yeah.
everything, and then the complexity, you know, smoked sturgeon. Who would have thought everything that they put with it, with the different textures and the flavors?
That's a beautifully balanced dish.
Yeah.
And so, like, the sturgeon, fantastic, but the sourdough bread, it didn't have that, you know, the rich depth I wanted. So it was just that one element there.
Did either of you happen to try the fossicle while you were there?
No.
No, we didn't.
Okay, the fossicle is a popsicle made of foie gras.
They were
which,
talking about that.
$14 and worth every last penny.
It was interesting because our waiter told us that the pastry chef doesn't like sweet food. So the desserts were very almost savory sweet. That, you know, fermented banana cheesecake. I looked at it and I was like, okay, but it was wonderful. It was very fun, and we liked everything that we ate.
How are you guys?
I also like the enthusiasm that everyone had there. I like people who get geeky and passionate about what they're doing. You can tell that with the wait staff and the bartenders when they're doing it. They let some blood flow into it, and you know that always impresses me more than anything. Yeah.
And they're really excited about it.
Yeah.
When we asked about doing the little tour, the manager came running over to take us through.
I'm glad that you asked to do that, because that's a great point, again, is that people are so passionate about each of these different programs, and for them to be eager to show it to you is awesome too.
And the beers were wonderful. It was so good. And he was telling us the 5 bay leaves that go in it and the whole recipe. So that was really interesting.
So Mike Carroll and Craig Sindelar, they are the co-founders of it, the band of Bohemia, and they're both Alinea vets. You know, Craig was the head somm for 11 years there. So they bring that to the atmosphere, but they wanted to make it maybe a little more approachable. But as you can see, they still, I think, bring the same seriousness to the craft that they had at Alinea.
Oh, great. Thank you.
So let's talk about the atmosphere. What does it feel like? What's the vibe in there?
When it gets packed, it has that high energy level, and when it's a little less busy, it's kind of very calming.
We were there on a Thursday night, so it wasn't really crowded, but we got such individual attention, and it was just like eating very fancy food at your grandmother's house.
Well, Emily, you chose Band of Bohemia. Sum it up for us.
Top-notch, high-end food with a family-like atmosphere, and I go back again and again.
Gail?
Fun food, interesting building, great place to go. We're planning to go back.
And Greg?
Supremely well-crafted drinks with creative menu, but a little uneven.
You can experience the eclectic environment and more at Band of Bohemia, 4710 North Ravenswood Avenue, 773-271-4710. Open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday and also for brunch on the weekends. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $45. Greg Veza loved the time he spent in Turkey and says there's one place in town that reminds him of the magic of the country's cuisine. He says for a dazzling meal, join him in Roscoe Village at Turquoise.
We serve Mediterranean, authentic Turkish cuisine. A lot of varieties, a lot of fresh ingredients. Our specialty is Mediterranean porgis, it's sea salt crust fish. We have our own baked bread. We bake twice a day. And about the dessert, our kazandibi, Turkish flan. It's really nice, caramelized, butter and sugar is nice. Everything is great, the food is fresh, everybody coming in and then enjoying our food, and that makes me happy. That's really good feeling.
So Greg, you say Turquoise is terrific. Why'd you choose it?
Turquoise is a fine, and you know it's always a treat for me to go there, and for me I think it's a place you'll go and you know it'll be a nice surprise for you. I would say it's a Mediterranean food with really emphasis on Turkish food. And they really do the Turkish classics really, really well, I think. You're greeted with this homemade bread, which is fantastic, right?
Amazing.
Yeah, it's made every day, homemade, complimentary, and it comes with a carrot and zucchini yogurt, which is fantastic. From there, you can kind of move into what's known in Turkey as meze, which is their appetizers. One of my favorites there is the eggplant, the smoky eggplant. You know, and I also want to give a little bit of a shout out to the waitstaff. I think they are fantastic. I think they really have an encyclopedic knowledge of the menu and can really help you navigate it through if you're familiar with that Turkish food or not.
I went to a lunch with my coworkers, and we immediately were very excited about the homemade bread, without a doubt. And that, again, I think anytime a restaurant has something to welcome you with, whether that's pizza bread at an Italian restaurant or a Turkish dish, I think that's something to kind of get you settled in, and it feels very much like you're, again, in someone's home in Turkey, for example. Overall, the food was fantastic. We had the zucchini pancakes, and I think one of the biggest highlights for me at Turquoise was the sauces. So the dill sauces, the garlic sauces, and the cold sauces that came with all of these dishes that were warm. I think they were paired beautifully. I would absolutely go back, and I'm looking forward to it. I think that the wine selection was a little limited, but we did make sure to try the Turkish wines. My friend had a Bloody Mary, which she said was awful. I don't know that I would order a Bloody Mary at a Turkish restaurant.
Yeah,
So that was a complete one-off.
No.
Complete one-off.
Well, Gail, what'd you think?
I have to tell you, I have a message from these 5 other people I went with. They said to say thank you.
Oh, that's so nice.
We loved it. I went with a group of people who really enjoyed trying different ethnic foods, and that was wonderful.
Have you ever had Turkish food
No,
before?
we had never did. I'm Croatian. I've been to Croatia, but the food was just a little different. It was wonderful. The grilled calamari was, I mean, it wasn't rubber bands, which sometimes happens. It was very, very good. And then I can't remember the other. It was a cheese with like phyllo dough around it.
Oh, the
my
boreg?
gosh.
Yes.
And then the main courses. I had the lamb on the eggplant mousse.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I had to like sit like this because they kept trying to take the rest of my plate away. My sister, who was with us, had the shish kebabs, which were very simply prepared. They were wonderful, and she went to cut the pepper, and the waitress came running over. She said, "Don't do that, it's too hot." So of course we all had to try it, and she was right, indeed it was too hot.
By the nature of where Turkey is, you can see all the different influences
exactly.
of the Mediterranean and then the Middle East too. So it's hard to encapsulate exactly what Turkish food is, but it's really eclectic, so I'm glad you tried a lot of things.
The one thing we didn't have is the salted fish. They just showed it in this huge block of salt, and we were trying to figure out what it was, and then they flamed it, flambeaued it, whatever you do. It was amazing. That when we go back, not if, when we go back, that's what we're going to try next time.
Oh, you should, yeah, it's a knockout. What I like about it too, they don't try to be some American idealized version of what this Mediterranean Turkish place is.
Right.
It's if you were in Istanbul and you were just going out, it's what you would see at a Turkish wine bar there. I kind of liked that type of authenticity to it too.
Right, because you spent time in Turkey. You had taught a class out there, right?
I helped out with a comparative law class out there, which was great too, because you get to go out there and you have to meet the locals when you're talking. So really get to try a lot of eclectic dishes.
What is the price point, and were you expecting that price point?
I felt that everything was exactly as it should be in terms of bang for your buck and also just the flavor profiles.
We had 6 people sharing, and we still brought leftovers home.
Oh, wow.
I think that the portion sizes were good.
We had leftovers as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the atmosphere.
Well, we went for lunch on a Saturday. I think that it was really lovely to sit on the patio on the street. It feels calm. It feels quiet. Roscoe Street, really just a great place to eat because you don't have motorcycles going by and street noise and pollution.
So John's place is across the street, and the funny thing about that is John's place is actually owned by John Manilow. John Manilow is David Manilow, the creator and executive producer of Check Please's brother. So we can't have him on the show for obvious conflict of interest reasons, right? That would be a little odd. So, so if you do get a chance, so you can wave to him from the patio at Turquoise. So Greg, you chose Turquoise. Sum it up for us.
I think if you're looking for a great gathering spot for friends and family to enjoy some, really classic Turkish dishes where they excel at, really encourage you to try Turquoise.
Great. Emily?
If you want a place where you can linger with a calm, quiet lunch or brunch with family and friends, I think Turquoise is ideal.
Gail?
Thank you, Greg, for introducing us to Turkish cuisine. It was fabulous.
You can get a taste of Turkey and more at Turquoise, 2147 West Roscoe Street, 773-549-3523. Open for lunch and dinner every day, also for brunch on Sundays. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $35. Decca dines out, she likes a place where the seafood is sizzling, the drinks are flowing, and the atmosphere is inviting. That's why she says you gotta step up to the plate at Dancing Marlin.
Dancing Marlin was born out of our love for different foods. We love tapas, we love small plates, we love sharing. You get to try a lot more things that way. And so when people come in, they'll order 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 plates, and they'll literally have a ball going through the menu trying all this really unique food. Because we can be anywhere on the culinary scene is that we do everything from Italian, Spanish, American, burgers, and seafood just happens to be something we love to do. It can be boisterous because everybody's sharing plates and having fun and talking up their dishes and sharing this plate, sharing that plate. So it can get a little loud. Expect to have a lot of fun. Expect to share a lot of dishes at the table. Expect to experiment with the food that the culinary team puts together. And I think you're going to have a ball here.
So Gail, you say Dancing Marlin's delicious. Why'd you choose it?
Oh, Dancing Marlin is our go-to place. It's our favorite place close to home. We can go and have a wonderful time. It's a small plates restaurant, and they change seasonally, so everything changes a little bit. So it's always an adventure to go. Friday nights are dollar oyster nights, which are our favorite night of the week. I will say that. They always have tacos. Generally a fish taco and a meat taco. And it was the first place I ever tried bone marrow. And I was a little like, whoa, but yeah, I was definitely a convert having tried it.
So I think that one of the things you mentioned that I would keep in mind is close to home. For me, I don't think I would revisit unless I was in the area. My favorite thing on the menu was the crab stuffed peppers. That was delicious. There was a chili oil. I could have done 3 plates of those, to be honest. We didn't do desserts. We did a mango crostini instead, kind of as a sub-dessert with cheese, and that had a jalapeno strawberry gastrique over it, which was phenomenal. So good. Also really appreciated the Chardonnay was on tap for my mom. She likes Chardonnay. And then I had Moscato as well. So I think overall, we were seated in a kind of strange area. So it's like the little offshoot room.
That's the quiet room.
Well, the woman sitting next to us was 20-something drinks in and joined our meal for a while. So that was awkward. I did notice that the main room was totally just where to be. It was lit up beautifully with the Marlins and the blue lights, and we really thought, oh, we'd like to be sitting over there. The patio also adorable with the lights. So I think that in the future, if I were to go back, it would be to sit on the patio. But again, overall, other than loving the crab and the mango crostini, I don't know if there's any dishes that you would recommend otherwise, but we tried many different things and nothing just sung to me.
Well, what did you think, Greg?
Well, first of all, I think you missed out not being in the main room. I mean, dining's supposed to be fun and let you escape. And I think when you walk in there, they do a good job with that theme, that nautical theme. I think the atmosphere was very good, especially for where you are. You forget you're in right off a busy street. It takes you away. And I think that's the genius of the spot.
The other thing is, you said the lady kind of sat with your mother. We were a table of 4, and by the end of our dinner, we were a table of 6 because there were 2 people sitting by themselves. So they were like, "Oh, come on over." So it's a lot of that kind of friendliness.
It was definitely very lively, which I appreciated in the main dining room. I think that if I was with a date, it would have been fine, but I would have liked to partake in that main room.
You know, going along with this communal vibe, it was interesting. I saw a table with a family there, saw people on a date. I even saw 2 people on a table next to me that looked like they were closing a business deal. You know, so it was for everyone. The menu itself was kind of intimidating. It's pretty huge. Would have liked a little more help navigating it. But, you know, with it being that big, I think you're going to accommodate a lot of different dietary preferences. For me, the highlight was the calamari. I think they really did have that pop. It was seasoned well. You know, when I went, it happened to be National Fried Chicken Day, and I was doing my civic responsibility. You got to do it. And that, you know, I can understand there were bits and it wasn't fried chicken on the bone, but little dry there. But again, you know, sometimes if you're going to do fried chicken, it has to be your jam. It really has to be your thing. But
it's not an easy thing to do.
It's not at all. But I think they did have a lot for everybody.
2 things that you really need to try there is they always have a smoked fish dip, which is
I had that,
really good. It
great.
was salmon when we were there. If you're ever there and they have the white fish, that's the first thing to order. And the Korean barbecued shrimp.
And we didn't have that either.
Oh, they're really,
Did we make all the worst choices on this menu?
The best option if you're ever there is to get the little donuts in there. They're like 4 little fried donuts, and they serve it with caramel sauce and chocolate sauce. And when sharing, everybody gets a bite. You know, it's like, the calories don't count when you share. The other thing you can get is they do, as I said, the seasonal cocktails, and you can do a cocktail flight, so you can have a little taste of each of those, and sometimes that's the best dessert.
And all the cocktails are on tap as well.
Yes.
So they really try to focus on being sustainable, farm to table, kind of a lot of things you are seeing now, but carries that over into the beverage program, which you don't always see. So they actually have 16 wines on tap, 8 red, 8 white, and then that helps eliminate waste, obviously, and keeps the wine fresh. Yep. So, and then they have cocktails as well. Well, Gail, you chose Dancing Marlin. Sum it up for us.
Cool. For a fun night with good friends, good food, good service, we always have, and great cocktails, it's the place to go if you're going down south.
And Emily?
If I go back, which I assume will be a visit to Gail's house first,
anytime,
it would definitely be a situation where I would sit on the patio if weather permits, or in the main dining room.
And Greg?
I would say nautical chic. Is that a thing? Nautical chic oasis in urban sprawl with, you know, expansive but somewhat intimidating menu.
You can try the small plates for yourself at Dancing Marlin, 20590 South LaGrange Road in Frankfort. 815-464-6646. Open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday and also for brunch on Sundays. Reservations are accepted and the average tab per person without drinks is $30. So on this week's show, we featured Band of Bohemia in Ravenswood, Turquoise in Roscoe Village, and Dancing Marlin in Frankfort. Let's recap what our guests had to say. First, we ran over to Ravenswood Avenue and tried Band of Bohemia. Emily recommends it for the eccentric space, perfect for any crowd or occasion, and the high-end food. Gail thought the food was fabulous and enjoyed checking out the brewery. Greg said the drinks blew his mind and thought the service was great. Next, we drove down Roscoe and checked out Turquoise. Greg recommends this Turkish delight for its commitment to authenticity. Emily thought the food was fantastic, especially the sauces, and enjoyed the atmosphere. Gail loved trying out Turkish cuisine for the first time and can't wait to go back. Lastly, we brought you to the south suburbs and dined at the Dancing Marlin. Gail recommends it for the delicious seasonal fare and a variety of wines on tap. Greg appreciated the lively atmosphere that transported him from the busy streets. Emily said nothing on the menu wowed her and wished she was seated in the larger dining room. We've had a wonderful time this week. I want to thank my guests, Emily Yount, Greg Veza, and Gail Videka. Join us next week for 3 new guests recommending 3 of their favorite restaurants right here on Check Please. I'm Catherine Diorio, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
For more information about the restaurants featured on Check Please, go to WTTW.com/checkplease.